Hey, I think it's time we do an update in my Hobonichi weeks. This is my 2023 Hobonichi Weeks Mega, and if you saw my 2024 Hobonichi haul video, I mentioned that I've been experimenting in this again because right now I am contemplating moving into a weeks for my main planner for 2024. So let me just show you what I've been trying and how things are going. Some quick housekeeping things before we get into the pages. This is the sneaker edition for 2023 in the Mega, and I have the Japanese version, and this cover is by Hobonichi. It is the Knot, N-O-T-T-E cover. All right, let's zoom in. Okay, hopefully that works. So as I mentioned, I've been using this as my main planner, I think for about 3 weeks now, but most of what I've been doing is backfilling it in a way to experiment. I don't know if I'm going to backfill this entire thing, but the more time I'm spending in it, the more likely I am to do so. So I'll show you what I've got so far and how I've been using it. Front 2 pages I typically use as an inbox, so I've got sticky notes on here. These are from Daiso. I actually used my clear adhesive pocket this year for the first time ever, and I have a Polaroid for my trip to Alaska in there. The year at a glance, I track my paydays on. They're underlined in pencil, just so at a glance I can tell if something is a 5 paycheck month or a 4 paycheck month between me and my husband, so that's always been really helpful for me. Cycle tracker is a printable. This is from 104 Peanuts Planner Co. in the pocket size. I don't remember what I scaled this to, but I'll link the setup video up in the cards because I think I mentioned it in there. The yearly log I use to track my workouts, and I do really like this. I've backfilled from my previous notebooks. Monthly spreads are, I think, pretty much filled out, and I use them like most people do. Agenda, calendar events, I will write in here as they're scheduled. I do a running to-do list down the side. I will decorate them, I guess, in my opinion, pretty simply, using stickers from my Patreon perks or from the shop. These are some of my absolute favorites. I will also go back and sort of write in unplanned events retrospectively. So like this day I colored my hair. I do that myself. So I went in and wrote it in just because for me, I'm a very visual person. So the monthly is the spread that pulls everything together, and they're helpful for me to flip through and say, when did I do that last? Even though I have various habit trackers for it, sometimes I just find the monthly is an easier place to look. So I do a little bit of both. All of my writing, I'm still using Pilot Vanishing Point and Extra Fine inked with Diatramentus Archive ink. I'll have that listed in the description box for you, but it's my go-to ride or die combo at this point. So I don't think I will be changing that anytime soon. These are from my shop, by the way. September's perks. And my current month with some October perks. I like my tabs. I've talked about these before. These are the Midori index clips, and I get mine from Jet Pens, but you can find them other places. They are metal, repositionable, removable tabs, so they're going to shift around a little bit. They're not like permanently going to stick in a particular spot, but I've been using them for years at this point, and I love them, and I think they look neat in my planner too. And no adhesive residue, which is super nice. Okay, so weeklies. I think I want to start with my current week and we'll just walk backwards. So this is where the experimenting begins. I have really been favoring this particular weekly layout, and I think I actually have a video on it from earlier in the year in my pocket bullet journal, but I am calling this a rolling weekly because at its core, that's basically what it is. And the general setup is habit tracker at the top, Monday through Sunday, running to-do list down below, and then I will use a line to like a circle to indicate events and appointments so that they stand out to me a little bit more in a running task list. So for example, I have a maintenance appointment for one of our cars on Friday, so that is why I have that line to a circle event so that I can tell pretty quickly that's an event and it's on Friday. I have kind of shifted a little bit. I used to rely on my weekly spreads to tell me the entire story, but I've kind of retrained myself to rely a little bit more on my monthly for events. So this is my master events log in a way, and I reference my monthly daily anyway. So when I set up my daily logs in the back, I'm always checking my monthly and then I'm checking my weekly. It's a subtle change, but it's actually been working out a lot better for me to trust my monthly to be my appointment log and my weekly to more or less be what is my running to-do list for the week, what do I want to accomplish, and what are my focused habits for this week. I have a column to the left because under the rolling weekly, I will use the habit tracker dates to soft schedule tasks. So for example, I have a line item here for December flights, and it's probably incredibly small on the camera, but there's a dot under Wednesday. So I have soft scheduled that I need to book December's flights on Wednesday. And most of my tasks really don't have a lot of repercussions if I don't do them on the day that they're assigned. But then when I set up my to-do list for Wednesday, I will look and say, okay, what have I soft scheduled? Make sure I grab those things to write them in. And then when I complete the task, I will typically mark off which day I complete it, or if it takes me multiple days, I'll kind of indicate that throughout the week. But the column on the left is sort of my final check off to say that something is done, because I would struggle a little bit to tell what was an open task if I'm looking at just this portion. So this makes finding those things just a little bit easier. And this is just nice to have the information. I probably don't need both, but at this point I really like both, and I'm very checkbox motivated. So if I get to complete something and check it off twice, chef's kiss. So that's more or less how this spread works. So as I think of things throughout the week, I'll just add them to this list. I don't soft schedule everything. Like filming this video, for example, is on my running list, but I haven't soft scheduled it. So when it's done, I'll just check it off on the left-hand column here. So this has been the weekly spread that I've been using in my bullet journal as well since April. And it sounds silly to be like it's life-changing, but it's the biggest change I've made to my planning system in a long time. I'm like trying to get to the previous month just to show you more example. It's one of the biggest changes I made in a while. It's a small tweak, but it has really been great for me this year, because one thing I've always struggled with, especially in the Hobonichi weeks, is balancing letting my daily logs tell a complete story of what happened each day and feeling obligated to backfill a weekly spread so that it looks complete or full. And when I pull old Hobonichi weeks off the shelf, I think I've got my 2021 handy here. When I pull my old planners off the shelf, I will flip through the weeklies to find what I'm looking for. So, oh, I need something on this date, but inevitably I will go through and flip through the back to find the daily log that goes with it, because I trust the daily log more than I trust what I had on my weekly spread, because this is just a smaller space. But I don't want to leave everything blank, so I would take little things that I had written in my daily logs and backfill them into my weekly so that it looked full. And I kind of got tired of balancing that. So the shift I've been making is really just letting the week on one page be the functional portion of my weekly spreads, and then letting myself be creative with the left-hand page. So this current weekly is inspired by Megan Rhiannon, but as we'll flip through, I'll kind of talk through some of the other things that I've been trying and other people who have inspired me. But I'm trying the whole micro journaling at the end of each day just to kind of log some thoughts. Sometimes they're directly about the day, and then sometimes it's just like, this is what was on my mind today, and it's not necessarily related to what happened that day, but just to kind of use this as a micro journaling spread and not using it as a planning spread. This is the functional portion for my soft pre-planning, but my daily logs are still where everything happens, where I'm recording the events, the little notes, the highlights is the more complete record. This is just a functional tool to help me organize that. And then this is sort of like a creative outlet space is how I'm viewing it. So flipping back through, this week I was traveling and really enjoyed having sort of this micro journal space because I didn't bring my journal with me. So this was great just to reference as I went to backfill some journaling spreads in my other Hobonichis. These photos I just printed out on regular printer paper. I print quite a few photos. It's something I've been doing differently this year compared to previous years. And depending on the type of photo will kind of determine how nice I decide to print it. Like this week, for example, I didn't micro journal day by day. It was kind of a quiet week. And I've been thinking through 2024 goal ideas and putting together vision boards, and I really liked some of the images that I found. So these were from Pinterest, and I just uploaded them into Canva, resized them so that they were smaller, and these are just printed on regular like printer paper. The print quality is absolutely not great on these, but they weren't like nice photos that I want to go back and remember. As I'll flip through, I'll show you some of like the nicer ones, and I'll talk about that. The printer I have is an Epson XP-6100. I'll have it listed in the description box, and for the most part my process is find photos, upload them into Canva, resize them, print them out on printer paper or on nice sticker paper, and that's about all I do. Nothing other than that. So this was a spread I really liked because it was just doing something different. Instead of memory keeping, it was just, hey, here's some thoughts and some goals for next year. This week I was back to the kind of micro journaling day by day, using my Tambo Fudenosuke to hand letter some of the more big events. This was a picture from my Animal Crossing island that I took, so I printed that out. This week I had been listening to Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat on repeat, so I just decided to write about it and some of the lyrics that I liked, because my entire week, like, this is all I remember from that week. So this red ink is Sailor Midnight Bonfire, I think. This week we finished season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is an anime. So instead of micro journaling, I just decided to write about the season and what we liked about it. This sticky note is from Daiso, and again, just found the image, uploaded it to Canva, printed it out on sticker paper for that one. This week was the 2024 Hobonichi lineup, and I just decided to print out the pictures of the things that caught my eye and glued them in. This sticker is from Midori, by the way. And then this week I was trying to do the micro journaling, but then I finished a book, and that's about all I did over the weekend. So I did a little book review in here, and again found an image of the cover, uploaded it to Canva, and printed it out. And then same sticker note from Daiso. A more traditional Lindsay Scribbles spread week that I wanted to try out. And then this was sort of the first experimental weekly. So I was inspired by Elle's diary on Instagram. I'll have her handle in the description box down below, but I love seeing her weekly spreads in her Hobonichi weeks, or honestly any of her planners. They're usually like really cute and very full with lots of little stickers and bubbles and fun lettering and things like that. So hers are definitely a lot more cute than mine, but I tried to kind of replicate the style that she had in her spreads in this one. And I did a little bit of journaling every day, but a lot more like hand lettering and just some random stickers for deco, pulling in some character stickers. Her right hand page in her spreads are typically very full and have like memo notes and a bunch of other things that make it really cute. But I think for me, the balance is one functional page and one for fun page. And that was kind of the style that I was trying. But this was my first experimental weekly. Like, I backfilled this one first to try it out, and then realized, okay, this could be a lot of fun. And then I have been slowly working forward ever since. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, okay, I've been in here a lot longer, actually, because I think this is when I started. It was either this week or this week that I picked it back up again post-launch. It was probably this week, because this is when I caved for the Hobonichi haul, so it was either the weekend before or this one. So I have been using this like relatively regularly. The bullet journal is still obviously like off to the side and I'm using it, but I am liking how they're coming out. There are a ton of blank spreads in here, and I don't know if I'm gonna commit to backfilling all of it, but I have updated this at one point kind of up through March and mid-April, because I was using it as my planner again around this time. So there is a lot of completed spreads from the first quarter of the year in here that are more traditional Lindsay Scribbles layout and the way that I was using them before, which is date-specific tasks and appointments, highlights of the day, habit tracker, running to-do list. but I think I'm definitely much preferring this layout. It just feels a lot cleaner to me, a lot more simple and a lot more creative, because this page is going to be different every single week. Not that I won't go back to this at some point. I think if I have a week where like I just need to micro plan everything out, this would be great. But for the most part, my daily log is what I refer to. So this just works for what I need the weekly spreads to be doing. Another spread I shared on Pinterest, or not Pinterest, on Instagram, so I'll show you here quick. This was the week that we went to Alaska on a cruise. I have like a whole vlog series of that, if you're curious. But I went on a cruise with my family, and when I was thinking about backfilling this, I was like, man, it's just pointless to continue to backfill it. Like, why not just try memory keeping it? So I took some of my favorite photos from the trip, uploaded them again into Canva, resized them, printed them out on sticker paper. When I want my photos to look nice, I use the weatherproof matte sticker paper from Online Labels, and it's sort of like premium matte sticker paper. It is thick, but it's not as thick as like actual photo paper, and it's significantly thinner than like a Canon IV Mini 2 type of picture. So all of this I did obviously post-trip, and I had all the photos and I kind of resized them about Hobonichi week size, printed them out and stuck it in. And then I just went through, lettered in where we had excursions at, and then a couple sentences about each day of the trip. And I think that this turned out really cool. And I could see myself doing this on like weeks that I'm traveling, but to be honest, if I was using this functionally, I'd probably have a lot of notes, appointments, and tasks that I would have been keeping track of, like by way of packing lists or things to pick up or dinner appointments and stuff, to be honest. But because I'm backfilling it, I got to experiment, and I think it turned out really cute. So I did get asked a lot about how I use the pages in the back, and the short answer is I bullet journal, but there's a lot of habit trackers, lists, notes, and collections that I keep in the back. But the most important use of this for me is the daily logs, and that is why I go with the week's mega. To me, like a daily log is primarily just like a to-do list for the day, but it's also where I do my like soft memory keeping. I write down the little notes, the highlights, the funny jokes, the song I'm listening to on repeat, maybe a couple like micro journaling entries here and there. It's my opportunity to practice drawing. I try to draw something literally every single day between my journal or my planner, because I want to get better at it, and practice makes progress. I will practice my hand lettering in here too as well. So really the back is primarily main use daily logs. I set up a daily every single day. Like it might sound silly, but it works for me to have a daily every single day. So even though there are some weeks where I probably don't have a lot to accomplish and this is more than enough, to me it's valuable to set up a daily log every single day, because it gives me sort of like a narrower view of like, what do I actually need to accomplish, and space to capture like little things where I'm not worried about the aesthetics of a spread. I can use stickers and have clashing colors and keep ephemera, print out a picture, or journal something, doodle something silly, and be able to flip the page and kind of move on. So that is why I'm a huge fan of a daily, and what the majority of my pages in the back end up being used for. So we'll just kind of flip through here. These are habit trackers that I set up at the beginning of the year, the first time I kind of backfilled into a mega. So I've just kind of picked up where I left off, migrated information over, and I'm using some of the same spreads. I didn't bother resetting things up. So I have like an adulting log up in here, a reading list, book review kind of list for the year, my date night log. With my husband, I go on date nights, so I just write down the date and what we did, a call log for just like a record keeping of when I talked to my best friend, gift ideas spread, some Lindsay Scribbles spend for tax season, debits and credits, running shopping list, a personal spending log and package tracker. I'm on to my second page, each of those. A checklist for like Patreon perks, video ideas for Patreon and things like that. Stardew Valley reference information. I did a whole video talking about gaming in my planners. I can link that up in the cards if you're looking for a deep dive on that. And then daily logs to follow. So one thing I did do a little bit differently is I have tabbed the beginning of my months off using dot stickers. These are just primary dot stickers that I found at Daiso, and I just fold it back on itself over the edge of the paper so that I can find the beginning of my months really quickly. It's something that I was doing in my bullet journal since April, just to find the beginning of the month and kind of key spreads, but it has been so handy. I cannot believe it has taken me this long to do this. I don't like tabs that stick out beyond the paper because I usually keep my pen in this cover, but having them just like this, it's surprisingly easy to kind of flick to whatever month that I'm looking for, and it's been helping me find things so much easier. So really am liking that so far. This was the real labor of love because I did go through between like my first backdating section and before I picked this up again in September. So I have backfilled pretty much every single daily log from either my passport, traveler's notebook, or my pocket bullet journal because I really like having dailies in a chronological order. And to be honest, dailies are the backbone of my system. So this is where I put the most energy into backfilling these things because the weekly spreads are already like pre-printed spreads. I can just poke away at these whenever I'm bored or I want to play in my planner. I can just go through and see, hey, what do I got, and get creative and try something new or transfer information over. But my dailies, I'm a bit particular about. I want them to be, you know, in the order, etc. that I want. These are reserved to transfer over some habit trackers that I haven't done yet. But yeah, overall, I would say moving back into the weeks, a couple things that I'm really enjoying. One, I have kind of fallen in love with the idea again of having one book for the entire year as my archive. I really thought that having multiple bullet journals wasn't going to bug me, but I am struggling when I'm trying to look something up. Like the other day, our air conditioner went out at the apartment, and I was trying to figure out when it went out because it went out last year and they fixed it. And it is just effortless for me to find something in a Hobonichi from a previous year because I know I've got everything in one place. And we also had something happen with maintenance earlier this year, and I struggled to find it in my bullet journals because, I mean, struggle is a strong word. It took me extra time to think about, wait, what month was that in? Because that will tell me which book I need to look in. Where when I'm in a Hobonichi mega like this, it's the full year in one place. So it's just like, what year was it? And then I know which book to look for. It just makes finding things a little bit easier. There are certain like lists that I've hesitated to like write out because I don't want to rewrite it notebook to notebook. And I could put those things on a sticky note. So all my complaints like have a workaround, to be fair, but I am really enjoying just like, oh, it's so nice that it's all in here. It's all together. I can find it. I can find it easily with these little dot stickers, or it's indexed. And my index in the back here. I don't mind setting up my bullet journal spreads. Like a bullet journal is as simple as you need it to be, or as complicated as you'd like it to be. So it's not really like a timing thing for the motivation not to be in a bullet journal. Like setting up my spreads in my bullet journal takes literally 10 minutes. And I can find that 10 minutes and I enjoy that 10 minutes to do so. But when I am like crazy busy, it's nice just to have a framework to fall back on when I don't want to have to think about like, what type of spread do I need this month? Or what do I need my planner to do for me this month? There's sort of like a framework that's there that can take some of that decision fatigue out of it for me. The con of that is that I can feel trapped very quickly, and I'm someone who turns to planning as a huge creative outlet. So if I don't feel creative in it, then I get bored very quickly, and that's kind of why I spiral and hop around a lot. But what I will say is like right now, and the more I'm envisioning how I want 2024 to go, and like what does my planner system look like in April and May of next year, and everything that's on my plate, I am feeling more and more confident that this will be the right selection for next year. But we will see. I'm still picking up my bullet journal regularly because I miss it from time to time. But also I can definitely remember, or I've fallen back in love with that idea of like having a single bullet journal for the entire year in more of a hybrid format. So If you're looking for other Hobonichi weeks inspo, Melanie from Addicted to Planning has some really old videos at this point from like her 2019, 2020, and 2021 weeks, and I've been rewatching those and really enjoying them. So I'll have her channel in the description down below. I feel like the weeks is everywhere, so there's always people to find inspiration from, but those in particular I've just been rewatching almost religiously at this point and enjoying them. But if you guys have any other questions about my weeks, let me know. But if you've made it this long, thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.